Lasers and Leaders with Loretta Tway. Here we will be talking all about laser and light while growing your curiosity in the business side of the aesthetic industry and the incredible humans in it. My name is Loretta, dermal esthetician, CEO, and owner of Dermology found throughout South Africa. I am proud to lead a multi-award winning brand, train professionals worldwide, and represent South African excellence on global stages. I firmly believe that we keep on learning every day. So come join me, let's learn together and smash those biggest dreams one after the other. Happy New Year! It is officially 2025 and this year is a remarkable year for me. I've spent the whole of 2024 trying to understand what is going to be in it for me next year. What is it that I want to achieve? Here we are. Welcome to my podcast channel. I am so excited to be here with you and to learn together. And hopefully, with the next episode, I will already be having another extra human here with me so that we can talk together. But for this episode, you're going to have to listen just to me. I promise this is going to be worth it. For my first episode of Lasers and Leaders with Loretta Tway, I want to tell you about how I almost did not go into the aesthetic industry. I know it would have been devastating for me. If you know me, you know that I absolutely thrive when it comes to lasers, skin, and people and business. And I cannot imagine doing anything else than what I am doing currently. So join me on my journey while I tell you how I got to where I am today, and most importantly, how I almost did not get to where I am today. It's important to highlight that these stories mostly consist of disappointments, doors smashing into your face, continuous downfalls, buckets full of tears, and many more. Nothing is just sunshine and roses. There will always be many chapters of negative things or life lessons that you didn't enjoy at the time. But now, looking back at them, I am forever grateful for having been able to go through those, learn from them, and come back better. Because at the end of the day, with every problem, there is a solution, and it's all about what you have learned from it and how you come back from it. So, without further ado, let's start from my roots. I was born and raised in the Western Cape in Worcester and grew up in the Dorings, Hex River Valley. That's a lot of rolling of R's. My whole family there, they export table grapes. So I was a farm girl growing up and absolutely loved it. Mainly, predominantly Afrikaans speaking, as that is my home language. From there, I went on to Stellenbosch, which is about an hour's drive into the Cape Winelands. And that's where I started my studies with Isaac Carstens. And if you know me and if you follow me on social media, you know I always reflect back to my roots and my base and my foundation, and that is Isaac Carstens Academy. I studied there for 2 years to get my degree in, or my diploma in somatology, or health and skincare therapy, as they called it back then. And then I had the option to do a third year, which was in spa management and advanced spa therapies. And that is the year that business really became a massive focus of mine. I really wanted to have a business, grow it, and the people in it. I was just not sure yet if this is the right industry for me. So fast forward a bit, I went onto the cruise ships as many of us do, and I did one contract on board. I saw a lot of the world, which I'm so grateful for. I also managed to practice my English a bit more. And then I came back to South Africa and I joined Singita, which is a 5-star game lodge in South Africa. Today they've got plenty beautiful lodges throughout the world. And this is also during that 5-year time of me being in the spa industry, managing the various spas and growing and developing different protocols. I was very much involved in the business and strategy and finance and target meetings and also leadership meetings. And this is where my growth, or my interest and passion for business growth and human growth or leadership developed even more. And I knew, Lorraine, this is what you need to be doing. You need to get yourself in this industry and start developing these skills and get to know it more. But I was still not sure how and in which industry. Then I got a serious case of khaki fever. The spa therapist and the game ranger fell in love, and we then moved to Johannesburg, where my husband is then a full-time wildlife photographer, and he also had his travels and private safaris that he does all over the world. So I then had to look for a place where I can now start my career and really focus on that business side of things, but also find the industry where I can thrive in. And again, I was not sure about the spa industry. That's when I decided I really want to look into the aesthetic industry. It's still in my scope, in my industry where I've studied in. It's just more advanced skills. And like I said, 18 years ago, we didn't have these incredible courses that's there today, 4-year diploma of dermal aesthetics. And it was very difficult for a spa therapist or a somatologist to get into the aesthetic industry and to start working in those clinics. And the biggest one for me was nobody wanted to take someone like me who's had the highest qualification at the time as a non-medical professional. They didn't want to take someone like me because I didn't have experience. Back then, this is a struggle that many of us had because, how are you going to gain the experience if nobody wants to give you that opportunity? But I am persistent and I had my goals and I knew that Lorette, you need to make this happen. So I kept on sending out my CV and my emails, and I have this one specific clinic that I set my heart on. I was dead serious. This is the place where I want to go work. I want to learn and soak up and just empower every single skill that I can get from this aesthetic clinic. And this was a big plastic surgery aesthetic clinic. And I have the emails still in my inbox to this day, where I've sent them a massive email. I researched their company. I knew everything about them, how they started, the years they've been open, what they specialize in, their visuals, their goals, their mindsets. And I sent a big email saying, listen, this is who I am. This is my history. I am dead focused. I want to make it in the aesthetic industry. I have clear goals and visions in mind, but I know I have to start somewhere, and I'm willing to dedicate everything I've got to your brand to grow and develop in this brand and beyond. So basically, I did not want a box, but totally humble and totally understandable that it takes years, decades to reach that. But I was willing to do it. So it was a very big email. I received an email back from them, from the main specialist, and she just said to me in a 2-liner email, thank you for applying. Everything sounds wonderful. However, they do not believe I have the experience to join their company because they're at that specific level. They recommend that I first go work at smaller clinics or other establishments to gain experience before they will even consider an interview with me. Needless to say, my life was shattered. I thought, oh, well, that's it. If I can't work there, I don't want to work anywhere else. I don't want to waste my time. I want to make sure that I kick off at a proper place. Somebody is aligned with my way of thinking and, thinking outside of the box so that we can reach those places together. So from there, I was even considering personal assistant to big corporate companies. I was considering many other different things. I'm very strong in administration, so I actually love doing administration. And, looking at other leadership positions, management, strong PA positions, and I've sent my CV out. Then eventually I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should try one more time and see if I can get to this specific place or to a specific place. And I found a company who just opened their doors and they need new staff, or they need staff to kick off. And that's when I was like, all right, so let's try this. Sent my CV through, and the owner immediately contacted me, and he said to me, he had a telephonic interview with me while I was still in the bush at Singita, just before we were about to leave. And from there, we set up a interview in person, and I loved it. I loved the concept. I loved that it was a new business, a new brand, and everybody is working together to establish the way forward. And then, of course, there were all these incredible lasers. Well, actually, so there were two lasers, old models, but I've never heard of it before. And I was seeing results that was achieved by these technologies worldwide. And it's a US based laser. So a lot of them is in America at that time, not so many yet in Europe, and basically none in Africa. We were the only brand to have these lasers. From there, I literally leached onto this brand. And I started pouring all my hours, all my dedication, all my everything that I lived, breathed, and eat was for dermology. And I remember spending so many hours at work, coming home after dark. And my husband is the same. He's the same as me. We dedicated so much of our time and effort as a young couple, traveling couple, to our various brands where, we were on the same page, and we wanted the same thing in our own industries. And then fast forward a few years later, I became the very proud and grateful owner of this brand that I poured my heart and soul into. And shortly after, they started branching out to various locations. That was such a big dream of mine. And today we are found in 4 different locations. Just remember this now, 4 different locations today. And there are so many incredible people in my circle that I can just be internally grateful for, because without them, this will not be possible. This is my story and how I almost did not get into the aesthetic industry. This story is also filled with so many disappointments and doors closing and people, double crossing lines and, things just not going the way you would prefer to. But what I would like for you to take from this is, if you are someone who just graduated, or maybe you are studying at the moment, I'm talking specifically to somatologists or dermal estheticians. If you are somebody who's just starting out, or maybe you have been in the industry for 5, 6, 7 years already, working as an employee, or maybe you really, really want to have your own company one day, or maybe you have your own aesthetic clinic already. This is not a smooth sailing process. Running a business and running a team is not smooth sailing. Every single minute can look different, and there will be challenges along the way. There will be problems along the way. It is so important to keep focused on the bigger picture. Something can go wrong today. Step back and look at it and think, can you do something about it? And is it really that bad? If not, leave it. Put it behind you. Let's move on. Because there are so many more bigger things that can go wrong that can really have that major effect. Do not waste your energy on negativity. Someone who can't see the positive side of things. Do not mix with those kind of people. They will bring you down. So ensure that you surround yourself with like-minded people, people who sees the bigger picture with you, and you are already one step ahead. Thank you so much for joining me with my very first episode. I am so excited. There's a lot more to still come. So keep an eye on my Instagram and TikTok and the other social media pages. This is where I will announce all the new episodes as I launch them. And if you have any ideas for me, maybe you would like to join me on my next episode, you know where to find me.